This is the Get Vocal podcast.
So, welcome back to the Get Vocal podcast. Today we are joined by Sam, Connor and Mike from Elliot's Place. Right into it, we'll ask the first question to all of you. What does mental health mean to you? Let's go around the table. Whoever wants to start, don't jump in at once.
I mean, everyone looked at me. So mental health to myself is just me as a person. I don't see it as kind of separate from myself. I have good days and I have bad days, but it's just being open about it. I think that's obviously the best thing. And mental health's that openness and willingness to kind of learn from where you've been and where you want to get to. For myself, some of my darkest days, I got to the point where I didn't want to be alive. I got to the point of making an attempt on my own life. And luckily my wife walked in and literally saved my life. And without her and my family and those kind of closest to me, I wouldn't be here today. And me being able to give back to the people that have been in a similar situation, it just means I can support them and help them get back on their right path to kind of good mental health and looking after themselves. That's kind of what it means to me.
Wow. That's one hell of a start. That's probably the best answer we've had as well across the whole of the podcast. So that's incredible. And giving back is probably the best thing because you've been there and it's like a lived experience, isn't it? And knowing what other people are going through is the easiest way of kind of helping as well.
I think that's it. It's knowing that I'm not, like, you're not by yourself, and neither am I, and neither Sam or Connor or yourself. We're all in it together. And I think just opening that, kind of pulling the ring pull off and just saying, you can decompress, you can be with other people and say, I'm 100%. Not okay. Yeah,
100%.
That's fine.
What about you two? What does mental health mean to you?
Sorry.
I was waiting for it to come round to me, thinking I don't know what I'm going to say here. I think it's quite good because there's two ends of the spectrum here, probably, where for me, I'm probably quite fortunate that my life's gone in a very easy flowing way. So for me personally, but I've been around friends, family who've suffered with mental health. And I've probably always thought of physical health as health, like gym, fitness, and then just also like food, things you can actually see. And then mental health is this thing that you can't see, like you can't touch it, you can't really measure it. And then as of recent, in the last however many years, it's started to be like brought up a lot more and probably prioritized over physical health or just on par. But yeah, I mean, being around people like Mike said is the one thing that I'd say, for mental health is be around people, be in that community, whether it's friends or family. For me, probably, it's two ends of the spectrum, but it's nice because it's to hear that people obviously go through something like that. Brings you that back down to earth, and you never know what's around the corner. And your mental health could change. My mental health could change tomorrow from something that went wrong in my life or something that's happened. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very hard topic to talk about, I think, which is why this podcast is really good.
I think so. This kind of brings. Can you build on any of these two?
I'm a bit of both, to be fair.
Right. Okay.
So, late teenage years, I probably struggled in myself to actually literally get vocal and speak. My mum used to describe me as like putting everything in like a locked cabinet and just pushing it all to the side. And like most things, naive teenager, it all comes to head and you just have, really crap time. So coming through that, speaking it out, working on yourself, and then being on the side that like Connor's at now is that, I'm really open in telling people how I'm feeling now. Mm-hmm. And it's good to speak out because it really does help. So when you've seen both sides and then doing something like we did for mental health, when you mentioned it, it was like, how much you could help other people is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, probably the most powerful thing now, isn't it? And you saying about the last 6 years, probably, I'd say, is where we've started to see a massive change where I think everyone's started to take it, I wouldn't say seriously, because I think it's always been taken serious, but like where people have stood up and listened, when people actually have spoken and given the right services, and obviously the recent 111 line now, is it, for the mental health line, that is probably one of the biggest changes we've seen systematically for a long time that will really help a lot of people. So obviously we've got to Get Vocal, you've got Elliot's Place. Just talk to me about Elliot's Place, how it came to be and the amazing work you guys do.
So Elliot was a young lad, and sadly he was diagnosed with the same condition that I was diagnosed with, which was cluster headaches. This is what resonated with me with Elliot's story, is that our lives kind of ran parallel for a good few years, from the sounds of it. And I saw Elliot's story in the newspaper, and Elliot's mum kind of took his death and was able to offer kind of support for lads who were struggling not only with their own mental health, but perhaps kind of self-medicating, so using drugs or alcohol to kind of suppress their feelings or get over any pain or anything that's going on behind it. And Elliot's Place was there to kind of go, regardless of what's going on in life, if you're struggling with alcohol, drugs, we aren't going to turn you away. We're a listening ear, and we're here for you. And it was exactly what was needed at my point of the journey. I wish that it existed a bit earlier for me to get involved with, before I hit my low. And from there, we've kind of shaped Elliot's Place as that facility to go out to people and just say, look, we are here, we are listening, we'll take you if you're struggling with drugs and alcohol. We can refer you to the right places if you want that at that time, and we can help reduce it. Or we'll take you for housing if housing's your issue that's building you up, or if it's finances. We just support people on a one-to-one basis, and we shape it around those individuals who come to us. And then we also offer the physical activity side of things, which is so important. Like for myself, I ballooned to 18 plus stone, and I'm back down to about 16 now, after kind of being well for about a year. So we offer those physical activities to build those bonds and connections with lads, because lads don't often just come to a random stranger and go, I want your help. You need to gain that trust. So we find that those physical activities and that kind of communal kind of friendship is a place where you can just kind of open up, and then people will come to you with more issues and open up more about the fine detail.
I think that's what's so great, obviously, about where you guys are, where we are. They're just non-judgmental spaces, and I think that's one of the things that, especially with mental health, and for me, like, I struggled for the first probably 6 months when I first started going through it, God, nearly 10 years ago now, because you were kind of, as men, for years and years, you're just told, man up, you'll be fine. It'll blow over in a couple of months. And then when it doesn't blow over, and it starts building and building and building. And the thing is that my experience is assessed, but like, there was nothing, I'm pretty much like you, like I had a really kind of steady upbringing. There was nothing really there was no shock to the system, but it just build up. And then when you go to these places, and because you go, I'm not going to go to the doctors because they're just going to tell me I need a new challenge or whatever, which is true. So when you get to like talking groups and you sit around other people, like I remember the first time I came to Get Vocal, you sat around with a bunch of different guys that you'd never met before, but there's no judgment, and there's no judgment because I'm younger than them, and they're thinking like, what's he got to be worried about? It's a case of, oh, you need to be doing this, like you need to be going here, or have you thought about doing this and this? And that's what's great about both projects is people are really kind of opening up, and the stigma's slowly but surely kind of being relieved, I'd say. Yeah. There's still a lot of work to do, but I think sitting around the table where you've said, you openly talk, you openly talk, I openly talk, you're openly talking. Obviously, these two that you don't see on the camera, if you had to talk.
And it's like when you say something about you, how you're feeling, or what's going on in your life. Maybe it's something that you don't feel positive about. there's someone else who's going through the exact same thing more often than not, and then that you give them the courage to say, oh, actually, that's going on with me too. And it can be anything from as simple as, you know, money, finances. It can be relationships. It can be friendships. It can be just your own personal thoughts. But when you get the courage to say it and you're vocal about it, someone else is sat there, and they might not even say it, but they're probably sat there thinking, I'm glad you said that because I'm literally feeling like that, you know.
I think it's that resonation, isn't it? As soon as it resonates with one person, they sit there and go, oh, I'm not on my own here. And like you say, I think that's what's the biggest part about the more people that talk, the more people resonate, the more people that then stretch their arm out for help. And then the stigma is slowly just kind of going down and down and down. So like going into that, what do you all do to keep on top of your mental health then? Like, so what do you do regularly? Do you, like for me, I have to have a routine now. I can't not do a routine.
Exercise. I'll probably speak for both of us. Is exercise, running, any gym activities, anything that just keeps moving. If I'm like stressed out from work and stuff, the first thing I do when I get back is pretty much go for a run or go to the gym. And then it kind of gives my brain a bit of like breathing room, and then I'll go back in and tell whoever I need to tell, family or whatever, about the issues that's happening. It allows me to say it in a calm manner.
Yeah.
In a more relaxed manner, and you open up more, and the person who's receiving the information is not just getting shouted at because you're so stressed out or or whatever. So exercise is probably a big one. Exercise, nutrition and sleep, really.
Sometimes as well, so I'm the same, like exercise is a big one for me. But sometimes I think like you can do too much and you fill your day with like all this stuff and you go, and you need that time to like do nothing. And if it's you sat in the car, like sometimes I'll just turn the music off and just drive, and you maybe you're not thinking about anything, or maybe you're thinking about something, but those little moments, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you need, of just I don't know what the word is, just like peace, you know, to think, because a lot of people think, right, I don't want to be alone with my thoughts, I've got to go to the gym, go to work, build my side business, I don't know, start this and start that, when really sometimes you just need either alone time with your friends, to talk about what's going on, or alone time for you to think about what you need to do. Because quite often than not, you can get to that answer. Sometimes you need your friends, you need your family, you need someone there to help you get to that answer. But if you fill your day with too much, sometimes I think that can
it's running away from the problem again. It's another form of running away.
Carl's not here today, but one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me was when I was going through what I was going through. He said, you need to sit inside your own head for a certain amount of time a day. Because I used to spend a lot of time on the motorway, and when I was struggling, I'd have to ring somebody all the time. I couldn't not be either on the phone to someone or thinking, right, someone's in the car with me. He said you need to spend 20, 30 minutes in your own head a day, because what it'll give you the clarity that you're not thinking about anything. You're thinking, right, okay, I've got this problem. How do I process it without asking somebody else about it? And I think that's probably one of the things I've took through my life in the last 4 years, especially after COVID, because you do take that time, and it's kind of like that self-healing time, I would say. A lot of people call it inner zen, don't they?
It's like reflection time.
Yeah, because I do exactly what you say, music off in the car, just drive, just take in what's around you or whatever, because I think that's the most relaxing time. Or even the worst part is when you go home and you don't go in the house, you have just 10 minutes wind down in your car and you're just like, right, okay, I'm going to go in the house now. And that's not because I've got a bad home life.
No, you need that. It's kind of that decompression, because sometimes you just need that bit of self-care. Sorry.
It doesn't. I was just going to say it doesn't always need to be them thoughts of like, how do I fix this or what should I do next? Sometimes it's just, you don't often get nowadays peace. There's always something going on, and you're occupied by like so many stimuluses through the day that if you can just have like 5 minutes of just quiet, that can really, benefit your mind. Just cool down.
Go on. You go first. No, you go
One
first.
of my little outlets is listening to music. So I'm a massive music fan. So I'll sit at home once the kids are in bed. I'll pop a pair of headphones on and put on a vinyl and just listen to some music and completely zone out. Really get into the music and just go with it that way. And that's a little bit of self-care. And then occasionally, if things are really getting on top of me, I got into photography. That was kind of my way back into society, really, and enjoying life again. So I'd go out and do wildlife photography. So I'd just sit in a field for about an hour and just spot birds. And because I was focusing just down the lens of a camera, you kind of get to admire the beauty a little bit more. And then I'd sit at home and edit it, and then you're really picking up on like colours and things like that. So it kind of brought me back round to appreciating what's around me, not just
that's
a thing.
It's interesting because a lot of people, especially Jordan said it on our last one about nature, like the importance of being around nature. And I think is it 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day that it just touching earth kind of is like is that
No, we went for a massage before the run, and the guy who was doing it said you need to take your feet off and feel the ground, and feel the earth. He was made me laugh.
Grounded.
Because we're in a motorhome travelling at 50 miles an hour. I thought, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, but again, you're right, because that is like back to basics. Like your basic level of living is, exist, breathe, eat, and just be around nature.
That was honestly probably the best piece of advice. So I'd see a hypnotherapist 3 or 4 years ago for my own personal journey, and one of the things she said, it was like homework effectively. She was like, make sure you touch ground for 15 minutes a day. And I was exactly the same. Like, I'm always touching, I'm walking, and she's like, no, like touch it, take the dogs for a walk, but like admire, appreciate what you're doing. And I'm very much the same with you now. Like going out to the park, or like going out and looking and seeing like birds, and you think that's quite interesting. Like, but going back to what you said, I mean, that's just going off on a tangent here about the stimulus in society. This is, I think, one of the things, especially with what we're seeing as more and more as we progress with mental health and more education into it, is we're seeing a lot more people finally being diagnosed neurodivergent and really kind of get into the grasp of who they truly are. And for so long, people have obviously had this mindset about neurodivergence, it was naughty kids, or it was what this is. Yeah. But what people are realising now, because there's so much stimulus, people aren't being able to concentrate. I think that's what then you get into a cycle, and it does affect your mental health as well. And I think that's one of the things that we've really learned over the last 8 months, because I've been doing a lot of reading about it. And what you said before about doing nothing, some scientists, some psychologists are saying now you need to schedule your week, have a do nothing day, where you literally just do nothing. Turn your phone off, sit on a couch, watch a film, because that's probably the best way of relaxing. And I think I definitely need to start doing it personally. And I think it's probably going to work for everyone if we just actually had that time where you just go, no more, just going to sit and take my own time. So
I'm going to use that one for my boss. I'm going to take a nothing day today, I think.
Yeah, don't say I quoted it. Yeah. No, it's fine. So what kind of activities, what provisions do you do at Elliot's place, and what? So you said about physical, you've obviously got the non-physical stuff. Yeah,
so we've got the kind of the physical side of things. We do boxing on Tuesday evening, so that's 6:30 till 7:30, and that's with Brian Rose at Stanley Park. Absolutely amazing session.
Guest of the show. Friend of the show.
He's so good, and he's so good with the lads, because a lot of the lads don't have the self-confidence. They've never been in a boxing gym before, so picking up a pair of gloves and hitting some pads and hitting the bags, it can be quite daunting. So we've kind of opened that first step for some of the lads, and some of the lads have taken it up and kind of gone to do white collar events and things like that, which is,
wow.
I know it's not something I'm ready for, and I've done it the longest.
Don't look at me, I ain't doing it. No, we're not doing it.
And then on Wednesdays we do multi-sports, which is basketball, badminton and table tennis.
Cool.
That's 12:30 till 2:30, sorry. And then also on Tuesdays we do pool and snooker at Q's Sports Lounge. We've got really good kind of reputation there, and really good rapport with Lee, the owner. and he's offered. We get 4 tables and pool tables and a snooker table, so the lads get to have a bit more of a social kind of environment, but you're doing an activity at the same time, so it's not too pressured. Then Wednesday evening we do football, which is where I've just come from, hence the sweaty mess. And that's the younger lot of lads. So they range from 16 right the way up to 27, I think is the other eldest. So I'm way out of my league, being 38 and trying to keep up with them. But when numbers are low, I get involved and do what I can. And then we do lots of one-to-one sessions as well on the Thursday and Fridays. But we're in talks, possibly getting like a mixed martial arts thing going on as well later on in the week.
Bro.
And then once a month doing a role-playing RPG session. So yeah, very different things to try and appeal to lots of different people, because we 100%. Understand that not everyone's the same. Not everyone enjoys the same things. And then we do a drop-in session on a Monday, which is 12:30 till 2, and that's just to get people to open up. We use Elliot's place for that. We've got an Xbox in there, tea and coffees, pop, and then put a bit of music on, play cards, dominoes, and just have a bit of a get-together. So we try to go with the social aspect.
Yeah. I think that's, especially with you saying cater for different people's interests, I think that's where that level of trust comes in, isn't it? I think when you've got different types of people in society where they don't feel trustworthy, like to go to a football or to go boxing, or if you've got like the RP, the live action and stuff like that, that's when you bring bigger groups of people together, and like obviously that stigma drops, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
the more people are interested and more people are in tune and the conversation. We're going to move on to you two. So you're going to, one of you, just briefly introduce what you did for Elliot's Place recently, because when you told me about it, I felt tired just listening to how many miles you run.
Got me to do it.
Go on.
153 miles, 5-man relay from Bridlington to Blackpool Tower in a day, racing the daylight. So we had to get to Blackpool before sunset, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Which we worked out was about, was it 8:15, I think, or
Pretty
8:30?
much, yeah.
Something like that.
We started at 2 a.m. We had a motorhome that we were all driving, we were all in. So we went to Bridlington the night before, stayed over, got there quite late because it was traffic, and then had about 4 hours sleep, woke up, and just one of us jumped out of the van, started running. And they were in front of the van, we had head torches on. It was 2 a.m, there was no cars, and we did that for like 4 hours. Then when the sun came up, one of us would, like, we were all in the van, we'd drive the van 5k, and the runner would just run 5k. So it was 5k splits all the time.
Right.
One person would run 5k, you'd swap. And then we just ran on the A roads all the way to Blackpool. It took us like 16 hours.
Just over 15,
and
I think.
It was like 50 to 55k each. But it was fast, you're running fast. But it sounds hard, and it was hard, but it was one of the best days of my life. Like, probably the best thing I've ever done.
Talking about mental health before.
So I was just going to go back. Go on.
Running at like 3-4 a.m. when it was like pitch black, or even when the sun was coming up and stuff. I ran without headphones, but like it was so peaceful. You were just, I forgot I was even running quick or anything. You could just have time to like reflect and then get back in the bus and carry on again. It was
being
the
told
weirdest,
to touch ground going at 50 miles an hour.
It was the weirdest experience in the world, but yeah, it was up there. Like honestly, one of the best days. We tried to plan it as much as we could logistically, and then we kind of got there. The plan went, wrong. We slept in a car park at a pub, and then we just kind of just went off and thought, right, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think
eat before.
It was tough. Like, you ran 5k quite fast, like 22-minute 5ks all the way, and at one point, you're going uphill and your legs are blowing and it's really tough. But you were just thinking, I can't wait to get back in that van. And the lads, like, the energy was high. There was music on, there was laughing and joking going on. You were on your own running, and all you were thinking, probably all of us were thinking, as soon as I get back in that van, it's all gone, all the pain's gone, And it is like a bit of a metaphor for mental health. Like, when you're on your own, you're really struggling, it's hard. But if you've got something there, like the van for us was, all our mates are in that van. It's going to be brilliant when you get back in. They're all giving you fist bumps, you know, you're back, you can chill out. And someone takes your place, and it's like, the metaphor for mental health is obviously you speak to your mates and they're there to support you, and then one of them might go through it and you've got to support them, you know. So it was a very appropriate challenge for the charity that we were doing it for. And like, Elliot's place is really important for me. Elliot was my best mate through all of my childhood. And then just as we went to university, we kind of just went on different paths and we fell out of touch. And then, like, later on in years to come, he took his own life. And if, you know, that happened to one of my friends now, that I've really, you know, got now, that'd make me hit rock bottom. So my thing now is, like, I want to do more for people like Elliot, because I couldn't have done it at the time, you know. You wish people will talk to you, but they don't. And it's like, you have to go out of your way to either talk to them or tell everyone, like, this is a problem that we've got going on, especially for men, especially for towns like Blackpool and stuff, you know. So when there's a charity like Empowerment and Elliot's Place, that's incredible, because if that was around when he was struggling, maybe he'd have gone to that snooker club and maybe he just would have got to speak to Mike, and anything can happen. So that's why when we do stuff now for charity, it's like, I want to make sure everyone knows about it. And it's a bit, I don't know, I don't want people to think, look at me doing this run. I want people to look at the charity, but you're only going to look because we're doing this crazy run, you know. If I just put it on my Instagram, look at Empowerment, they're so great, or look at Elliot's Place, they're so great, people just swipe past it. But if I'm running with a head torch on at 2 a.m, what's he doing, you know? And
and this was a mental thing when we were trying to share it to everyone. Before we started the race, or the run, we had like just over 800 quid, I think. And we finished with just over £5,000. So we basically got £4,000 whilst we were doing it. So it's like, we were sharing it. No one was really that bothered, it seems, until we physically did it and physically put ourselves through it. And then people were like, oh yeah, I'll give you money.
But that was a massive uplift though. Every time you got in the van and you go, how much you up to now?
He had it on his phone and we were sharing it, and it was like, oh, £2,000,
and like,
£3,000.
we had a banner on the van, on both sides of the van, with a QR code on that took you to the GoFundMe page. And some people donated that were just passing our van. So they'd put something like, I've just seen you in, where was it? I can't remember where it was, but just seen you near York, just donated, and like, incredible.
Because we were holding traffic up, people were like, had a chance.
Some people donated, some people
to be honest, I got all the grief. Everyone must have got the grief, but they all had headphones on. I didn't, so I could hear them all saying like, "Oh, you lost! Like, what are you doing?" I'm like running across bloody Yorkshire or wherever it was.
At one point, we were running together and we were running up this hill, and it was really tough. And the van had gone, so I was finishing my 5k and he was just starting his. So there was a time where we ran together for like 20 seconds, and these two guys were on like road bikes. And he said, you don't want to be running on here, lads, this is a tough hill. And we went, we're running to Blackpool. He went, Blackpool? You know, like, you're miles away. You know, we've come from Bridlington. He was like, Bridlington? You know, like, so it's just, we wanted to do something hard. And we all love running. And the other lads we did it with, Ollie, Jamie and Joe, they were, you know, they couldn't make it today, but they were exceptional. They did the whole thing and they were running like crazy. But we were all in it together, and some of them lads have struggled with their mental health, and it would have been good if they made it today, but work and stuff like that. But we were all doing it for the same reasons of, it means a lot to us, and you want to get people to be aware of it. Because if we did that run and one person kind of has seen what Elliot's Place do, then that means more than the £5,000. You know, the £5,000 helps them run and do all the things, but the actual people who want to help are the people who are struggling and can now go to this place.
I think that's the big thing, and something I've always said is like, if you help one person, the job's done. If you help more than one person, you're doing incredible. if you're helping hundreds and thousands of people, God.
Yeah.
It's a compound effect, though. That's
That's
what happens. We get one person from each of us that are running it to know about it, and then they just share it once and stuff, and it's compound effect, and that's what we were after. And I was just thinking then, when we were running, that neither of us, or all of us, didn't actually ever moan about pain. I didn't actually think I was in any pain until literally the end.
I was moaning at when you were in the van.
Like when we got right to the end, but yeah.
You were moaning at Bridlington.
Yeah, but it wasn't about, we weren't running moaning about ourselves.
Oh no, we weren't moaning.
It was a weird experience, and I wish at the time we had someone in the van to like write it down or describe, because me and Connor were literally in absolute hysterics about 40 miles from the end. I couldn't breathe. It was laughing.
It was like being with your best mates. Like you're having a top day, and then that bit of you've got to go and run next was I forgot about that. Like you were just loving the day, and then when we finished it, it was very surreal. Like you were there, our families were there. Elliot's mum was there, and it was just really, really nice. The sunset was beautiful. We couldn't have picked a better day for it, could we?
I was saying when we were running in, it was like weirdly emotional. I didn't want to like cry, but I didn't even know what I wanted to do, to be fair. Yeah. I didn't actually think anyone would turn up at the tower. My mum and dad said, I'll be there, but I thought, they probably won't. Because we didn't know what time we were coming in at, but then everyone was there.
Yeah.
It was quality when people
there were about 20 of us.
Yeah, there was a lot.
And it was...
Because there was so many people on the front, you couldn't actually, when you were running up, you couldn't actually see where anyone was. And then you all just appeared.
But... I mean, there was so much kind of inspiration that you guys offered. Like, there's lads that come to Elliot's place, go, I can't believe they did that. I'm like, I can't. I saw them come in, and they all had grins on their faces, and I was like, how? How is that possible?
I think it was grimaces, not grins.
I hate the drive, to be honest, let alone running. I hate the drive.
Yeah.
What's next then?
We want to do something again, don't we, next year? But
Africa?
Then the problem is,
challenge Charles Geezer?
Well, you never know.
I made a joke after we finished that, what was it, John O'Groats to Penzance is 855 miles, and that's an actual legit race that people do. They do it's like a one-man race, and it takes people about 14 days on their own. So I was like,
yeah, you said that as we finished, and I was like, let's just like go home and sleep on it, maybe.
I was excited at that point.
But yeah, I think the next thing we do again for like charities like Elliot's Place or Elliot's Place again is just it's got to be like bigger, because when you do something, it was very rewarding for me personally, for us personally. Like you feel amazing that you've done that, but then you feel even better when you can say, there's the funds that we've raised for Elliot's Place, and it's able to keep it going. So when charities like Elliot's Place rely on that funding, it's nice to then, what are we going to do next? So we're not sure, but something big probably.
Should have started out as just like Blackpool to Liverpool or something like that.
Yeah, and then
next year you could have gone Birmingham to, and you did by year 4 you go, all right, we'll do the 150 miles.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to have to go 300
it's like that
miles at least.
guy that just goes once.
The Swedish guy. Yeah.
So like we could have done that. Yeah. But no, it was good.
But technically that wouldn't be coast to coast. It's just top of the coast to the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's around there it's lovely.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into Cornwall, it's a lovely drive, but I imagine it's a lovely run as well.
It's probably quicker to run than the traffic.
Yeah, true.
Getting into Cornwall. So.
Yeah, horrendous.
We'll
What's next for Elliot's Place then?
Well, I mean, we're so appreciative of the money so far that's been raised. It's unbelievable getting over the £5,000 mark. We take our hats off, and it's going to be able to support so many lads and kind of just give them that glimmer of hope and get involved in the activities. In terms of us, we've got a conference coming up, which is going to be at the Village, and it's the first one for Blackpool, and it's a suicide prevention conference, and we've got some amazing speakers so we've got someone from Luna Foundation, which is talking about children that have been affected by suicide bereavement. Rory Stewart's done a video, who's I think he's a professor, and he's also written a book about losing his brother to suicide. And we've got that on the 2nd of October. It's an all-day event, but tickets are on sale on Everbright, and by all means you can get in contact and we can offer you lads tickets if you wanted to come, and we're going to do a bit of a shout out for you as well on the actual day, just to say thank you because of everything you've done. But the more the merrier really for the conference. We've also launched our peer-to-peer programme, so we've got 4 members of staff now who are able to go out and engage people on a one-to-one basis and work with them on kind of developing themselves, either after leaving places like the Harbour or if they're under community mental health team, and we can engage and kind of give them a bit of structure in life and kind of build their lives back up. And that's where we're at. And just keep on offering those activities and keep 100%. Being there for people.
I think that's it. I mean, we're going to start wrapping it up, but I mean, what you've all said of the last however long we've been recording, it just resonated so much. I think, especially with Get Vocal, Elliot's Place, all these charities that are growing now. Do you think the stigma is diminishing? Do you think we're getting there with the battle against it?
Yeah, I think it's lifting that, well, opening that can, isn't it? And kind of getting people to say, yeah, I'm here and it's okay. Like, it removes the stigma and shame that comes along with saying that you're struggling. And Get Vocal do absolutely amazing work, and we've got lads that go down to it that sing the praises. And yeah, I take my hat off to you for setting it up, because it was so needed. There was nothing around until it was there, particularly for a talking group. And I think we're just going to kind of work together and just continue on that path.
Yeah, I think it's massively diminishing, and that wall, that barrier that is in front of a lot of people for mental health, but in particularly men, is breaking down. It just takes a long time, I think. And sometimes you probably don't see the result, but results are happening. You know, like people watching this, you might not see them physically watching it, but it might help someone and you just haven't seen it. But yeah, I'd say conversations and like get the phrase "get vocal" is massive, because that is like everything, isn't it, in mental health? Just speaking and putting it out of your brain, out into the open, massively helps. So yeah.
Problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah,
definitely. What about yourself? Where do you think?
I definitely think it's diminishing, 100%. And I think the services like Elliot's Place. I mean, I went down to the snooker because I like playing snooker, but that's a different story. But I went down because I actually wanted to see where the money that we were going to raise, where it was going to go to. And I went down there, obviously didn't know anyone apart from you. And the idea of going down there if you've got any mental health issues and just literally potting balls, and everyone was just smashing balls around, and then all of a sudden they play a few games, you start talking, and then they're just chatting about even just what they did at the weekend or anything, and it just opens up so many conversations, and they start interacting with you on, you know, why have you come down and stuff like that, and it's like inspirational all around, to be honest. And I think having that safe place for people to go to is vital, and like I said, getting vocal, speaking out is the best way.
Yeah, I like that analogy. It's a can that never needs to be shut.
Yeah.
A can that needs to be remained open, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. I think it's been incredible.
Thanks.
You did some incredible work. Don't forget, like and subscribe to get the latest podcast episodes into your inbox. Thank you very much.